Melissa?
Well, Sheba and Tom, what we've learned is that Governor Andrew Cuomo is preparing to announce a change of plans that will enable New York voters in our area to cast their vote even if it's not at their designated polling location. What does that mean for you? Essentially, it means we've learned that New Yorkers in our area will be able to vote at any location. The governor's goal, we're told, is to increase options for voters. For instance, New Yorkers who are displaced and living in another part of the city or state right now, or voters who show up at the wrong location because of confusion. There's been plenty of that. It will apply to voters in areas of the state that are deemed as disaster areas by the federal government. Those include all of the counties in our viewing area. They will fill out an affidavit ballot. That ballot will be accepted wherever they show up. However, there are some concerns about this plan. Long lines, which we always see during presidential elections here in New York, could grow even longer with the potential for too many voters unexpectedly showing up at certain locations. And this is important, voters who do not show up at their designated location will be able to vote in the presidential and in the Senate races, but they might not be able to vote in their local elections if they're voting outside the districts of those local candidates. This could affect local congressional and state Senate races. Of course, the local races on the ballots are different from district to district. Now, Sheba and Tom, this is a really big deal because it will ease some concerns for voters who right now are worried that they won't be able to get to their designated poll site. But of course, it is better to know where your designated poll site is and to vote there if possible. They don't want to see a free-for-all in this election. We're still waiting for updated polling locations for certain counties like Westchester. Nassau has just updated some polling locations. We'll get that up on our website as soon as possible. And in New York City, we have received what they're telling us is the final list. We have now started to post that on our website, so you can check for it there as well, NBCNewYork.com. Sheba and Tom, back to you.
And again, Melissa, we're waiting for a live press conference from the governor around 5:15. Is that still the time frame here?
That's what we've been told. I don't know whether he's running late, but of course a lot of New Yorkers are waiting for this. And you know, it's interesting. Think about this. One potential complication. Every election district has told us that we've spoken to, their big concern is that poll workers may not show up. Those are the people who are specially trained. Now we're talking about the possibility that the plans could change at a lot of these locations. They'll be filling out potentially many more paper ballots, affidavit ballots. On a normal election in New York City, there are 36,000 poll workers who sign up and who are trained. On a normal day, no Hurricane Sandy, a third of them don't show up. So there's a lot of concern that people won't show up, and there could be a lot of crowding and confusion at these polling locations.
A third, even on a normal voting day, don't show up. That's astounding, Melissa. All right, thank you. I think the best advice is just check it before you head out the door. Yeah. And just because your polling location is not in a hard-hit area, don't assume that it's open if you want to vote in those local races. There are some changes for New Jersey voters as well, including the fact that some can email or fax in their votes.
It's going to make for a confusing election day in that state as well. News 4's Andrew Siff is live in Little Ferry tonight with more on that. Andrew?
Tom, Sheba, so many new things to grapple with. And here in New Jersey, as you just mentioned, you can email in your vote. You can fax in your vote. That's something people have never done before. Also relatively new to the landscape, early voting. In Jersey City, we got some footage earlier today. Pretty solid lines, people voting the day before Election Day. And that is one thing people wanted to do, and they told us they wanted to do, so they didn't have to contend with the stress of the bigger crowds on Election Day itself. So early voting taking place in a lot of places across New Jersey today. Now, where I'm standing right now, I'm in Little Ferry. That's Memorial School behind me. And even though this school is closed until November 9th, it will be open tomorrow as a polling place, what's known as a consolidated polling place. There's typically a polling place across the street that was flooded out. So what they're doing is the people.
All right, we had a little digital interruption there with Andrew's live shot. Most polling locations will be open for much of the day tomorrow.
And here are the hours. In New York, the polls open at 6 a.m., close at 9 p.m. Polling hours in both New Jersey and Connecticut are open between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m.
If you run into a problem at the polls tomorrow, we want to hear about it. You can email us at newsdesk@NBCUni or tweet